Welcome back to another episode of No Shame with Shane. As you can see, I got the guys on with me. It's been a minute since I had the fellas on here with me. I got Jeremiah Williams. Wait, let me fix that. I got Sirius XM's Jeremiah Williams fresh on the pod today. Jay, what's going on, man? How you feeling?
What's going on, man? Can't complain.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But then, we couldn't get the guys together without Marcus, the man with Marcus Talk Sports, the man with Protect Our Queens podcast. I mean, plenty of platforms. I can count all the platforms this man has on maybe two hands, for real. It's a few. But Marcus, what's going on, bro? How you doing?
I'm doing good.
I'm sorry, say that one more time, bro. You cut out.
You don't have my blood pressure raised up, so far, but we'll see how it goes.
I had your blood pressure raised up.
You do not currently have my blood pressure raised up, but in 20 minutes that might not be the case.
Okay, you're saying it'll get there. You're saying it'll get there.
Yeah, probably. Okay. Yeah, probably.
All right. Well, let's see. Let's see. I mean, it's possible because we're kind of getting into it today. We are talking. And we're talking NFL division winner picks. Our way too early predictions for the winners of each division. I think it's only right we start with the AFC East. We're talking the division with the Patriots, the Bills, the Dolphins, the Jets. The Patriots being the Super Bowl runner-ups this year, finishing 14-3, winning that division. The Bills finishing 12-5, usually the best team in that division, at least until this past year. The Dolphins finishing 7-10. Lord knows what's going on in Miami. The Jets finishing 3-14. Fellas, my first question for you of the night of this so special pod: is this the Patriots division to lose? They were just in the Super Bowl last year. Is this their division to lose? Marcus, I'll start with you.
No. The Bills are still the best team in the division. Like, I get it. Patriots won't make it to the Super Bowl, right? Shout out to New England. But last I checked, Josh Allen is still the best quarterback in football, and he's still the best quarterback in this division. New head coach, I got that, but I would still take the Buffalo Bills over the New England Patriots to win the division this year. We are talking about, a Buffalo Bills team that I believe, I'm not mistaken, was top 5 in total yards last year, top 5 offense last year, scoring wise. I believe they were top 3 in red zone touchdown efficiency as well. Josh Allen had another MVP caliber season. They do have things they need to kind of adjust as far as offensively. Right. But the run game is the run game. Right. James Cook really, took that next step, and I think he'll continue to do so. But for me, like, when you're talking about who wins this division, this has more for the Bills anyway, like more to do with who's around them and less to like them themselves. You talk about the Dolphins. The Dolphins just suck. They're god awful. And like, I wish nothing but the best for Jeff Hafley, wish nothing but the best for Malik Willis. But like, that is a god awful football team who, oh, by the way, just traded away Jalen Waddle like a month or so ago. So, like, who are we throwing the ball to? You go to the Jets. Who are the Jets? A garbage football team, right? You go to the Patriots. I have not been one to say the Patriots benefited from a fourth place schedule, but what I don't know if the Patriots are going to be able to replicate the successes that they saw last season. Defensively, they were great. Offensively, to me, I think they left a lot to be desired. I think it required a lot from Drake May to be exceptional a lot of the time. We saw in games against legit competition, right? In the Super Bowl, for example, he wasn't always at that level. Even over the course of the playoff run, he wasn't consistently at that level. And I think when you're going now into the 2026-2027 season, where you're going to have a first place schedule, where you're going to see tougher opponents, tougher defenses, and the tape is out on Drake May. There's nothing Drake May can do this year that's going to surprise us unless he just completely elevates a certain level of his game. I look at that and I say the Buffalo Bills, just off the strength and the merits of Josh Allen and James Cook, I think they win the AFC East this year.
Jerry, what about you?
This is easy, and Marcus hit it on the head. Like, I don't think anybody's really threatened by the Patriots. Granted, they made it to the Super Bowl. Congrats, you get a cookie. But I don't expect particularly Drake May to get them there again. I think that, that this was an amazing year for them. Granted, the Patriots are happy, but now you're able to key on the Patriots and see what they really can do. Now, with that being said, this division is obviously for the Bills. We know that Josh Allen is an MVP candidate. We know that he has something to prove. We also know that he is more motivated than ever. Not winning or not getting to the Super Bowl this year kind of, I think, lit a fire in him in a sense because he knows that that was his year. And I think now he's gonna come even harder. And I think with that, I think the Bills are going to be the ones in the AFC East to take it all the way. So this is easy. The Bills are going to kill in this division.
I think you guys are completely right. I think though, the one thing that does it for me, like last year, obviously, even though the Patriots were in the Super Bowl, they had one of the easiest schedules ever. You know, they played great ball against weaker teams, and then they also benefited from the injuries of guys in the playoffs. They played the Broncos with no Bo Nix. They had the Texans with no Nico Collins, no Tank Dell, and then they saw the Chargers in round one, Justin Herbert and the Chargers. That's just a good playoff matchup for any team, regardless of who you are. Justin Herbert in the playoffs. But I do think if the Patriots are able to give Drake May a true receiver one and shore up more protection, which are two things that it seems like they could do this offseason, I think things go the other way. I think things go the other could possibly. You said what?
Who would be that guy so you said a true number one receiver. So in your opinion, who would be that number one option? Is it an AJ Brown? Does that give them over the hump?
Right now,
and you love AJ Brown because he's on your team. So
yeah.
Talk to me.
Right now, it does look like A.J. Brown, and I'm glad you brought that up, Jerry, because according to The Athletic earlier today, it seems like the Patriots, there is a very realistic shot that A.J. Brown could become a Patriot in June. This is from The Athletic. The trade rumors have been circulating in the Twitter sphere, in the NFL sphere for a couple of months now, but it seems like this is a very real possibility. Now, if the Patriots do land A.J. Brown, you give an MVP candidate in Drake May a true receiver one like AJ Brown. He reunites with his old coach and Mike Vrabel. One, like taking the bias out of me, I think this would be a great fit for AJ, reuniting with Mike Vrabel, being on the field with Drake May. And I honestly think it takes their offense up a level as well because they already have a bunch of good number two caliber receivers. Romeo Doubs, Mac Hollins could be a number 2-3 guy. They already have a solid running back duo with Travion Henderson, Ramondre in the backfield. So if the Patriots do land AJ, I think we're having a different conversation in July. Marcus, you look like you got something to say.
His blood pressure is risen. I think
it looks that way.
Oh boy,
it looks that way.
Oh, Marcus.
Nah, I think we're putting a lot of stock into AJ Brown in the year of our Lord 2026. And
he's 31, right?
Are we?
How old is he?
Yes, bro.
Are we? Is that a lot? Is that a lot of stock though? When we're talking about an elite number one receiver in the NFL?
An elite number one receiver who is playing opposite of who? Shane.
What do you mean?
He was sharing the field out wide with who?
So you're saying him joining a team that doesn't have another receiver like Smitty would not
just
have as good of a.
Let's run down the receiving core outside of AJ Brown. Talk to me. Who are those
two
names on that list? Talk to me.
Doubs and Mac.
No, in Philly, who is the receiving core? Talk to me outside of AJ Brown.
Outside of AJ Brown?
Yes.
Devontae Smith.
Who you are on record as saying is the best number two receiver in football. Who else?
He's up there.
Who else?
Last year or this year?
This year, right now. Talk to me. Roster, right now.
This year, Hollywood Brown.
Great. Who we all acknowledge is an exceptional gadget player. Who else? Talk to me.
That's the gist in terms of minutes.
We're still missing a name here. We're still missing a name that you have bloviated about all offseason.
Darius Cooper. I said Darius Cooper.
No, the other one. Give it to me. Come on.
Receiver?
In the receiving core. Yes.
No, you're confusing me. What team?
I said Smitty. I said Brown. I said Darius Cooper.
Who else catches passes for the Eagles, Shane?
Oh, Dallas Goedert?
Thank you.
You said receiver.
I said receiving core. Let's turn the ears on. I know it's been a minute.
Receiving core.
Okay. Dallas Goedert is what? Third best, at worst, fifth best tight end in football?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, who's catching passes out of the backfield? What's his name?
Saquon, Tank.
Okay, so you're telling me AJ Brown's going to show up. AJ Brown's going to show up in New England with Romeo Doubs. First off, love Romeo, okay? I'll never say anything bad about Romeo. With Romeo Doubs, Kayshon Boutte, Mac Hollins, Hunter Henry. Julian Hill, Demario Douglas, like these are talented players. But A.J. Brown in Philly, what we saw A.J. Brown do in Philly, we are not going to see A.J. Brown do that in New England. Not to the point we're going to sit here and talk about A.J. Brown being the difference between the Patriots winning or losing the division. Because that's
he'll be a different. So you're saying he'll be a difference maker, but you don't think that like takes them over the edge, like to that next level?
This is going to be A.J. Brown back in Tennessee all over again.
No, not at all.
I would disagree.
Yes, it will be.
I would disagree.
Yes,
I would argue.
I don't think so.
I would argue AJ in New England, he might have his best year of his career in England. And I say that because of two reasons. One, if you look at AJ in Tennessee, it was a run heavy offense. Like Derrick Henry was the number one option in that offense. You look at the Eagles. His prime years in the Eagles, Saquon Barkley became the number one option in Philly, both last year in his Offensive Player of the Year and this year, just being that we simply did not know how to move the ball through the air schematic wise and relied way too much on the run. So I would argue him going to an offense where he has a coach that he's familiar with in Vrabel. He has an offense where he would instantly be the best player on the field, including Drake May, where he is now the focus of the scheme. I would argue that would be the best situation for him that out of any other situation he has had in his career. Now, I get what you're saying with the talent in Philly. Obviously, it's a stretch field. There's a lot of, it's a pick your poison type of offense. AJ didn't really have a situation where he saw a lot of double teams, but he also didn't have opportunities to get the ball like that because of the carries that went to Saquon, because of the targets that went to Dallas Goedert, him being the most potent and utilized red zone threat, let alone threat on like third down, fourth down, situational football. I would argue that AJ in New England, that would be the best situation for him because of the attention that he would get in the offense. Now that does warrant more attention from the defense, but we've seen him excel under that type of attention before when he was the number one pass catching threat in Tennessee. So I would argue that this would be the best situation for him, both schematically and statistically, just because of the targets he would get.
Yeah, I agree with that.
AJ Brown in Philly had in his 4 years in Philly.
Yep, never a year below 1K.
Individually, never a year below 1,000 yards.
Never a year below 1K.
There is one season in 4 years in Philly where he had less receptions than any 1 year in Tennessee. He had more receptions 3 out of 4 years in Philly than he did all 3 years comparatively in Tennessee, except for 2024 because he only played 13 games. Face that A.J. Brown in New England would be the best position for him. We do recognize that A.J. Brown got the most one-on-one opportunities he's ever seen in his life when he was in Philadelphia. We do acknowledge that, right? That's all going away. I love Romeo Doubs. Romeo Doubs is not Devontae Smith.
Yeah.
They're not looking for Romeo Doubs. Defenses are not going to be looking for Romeo Doubs for real. So let's cut that out, okay? Hunter Henry is not Dallas Goedert. They're not going to be looking for Hunter Henry the way that they're looking for Dallas Goedert. Travion Henderson, Ramondre Stevenson, they are not Saquon Barkley. Linebackers are not going to be keeping eyes on them the way they had to keep eyes on Saquon. Do I think A.J. Brown's going to be a good football player? Of course, he's a great football player. I think A.J. Brown is going to still be a top 5, top 7 receiver in the league. I'd be foolish not to because the talent is there. But what I'm saying to you is you guys are framing A.J. Brown as the difference between winning the division and not winning the division. And schematically, that doesn't make sense. When I say he's going back to Tennessee, what I mean is, to your point, he's going back to being undeniably and unequivocally the best receiver and arguably the best player on the field and going to demand all of the attention of the secondary. And we saw what that looked like. He was great in Tennessee for those 3 years. I'm not saying he was a scrub or anything like that. But what I'm saying is the numbers are telling me that when you put A.J. Brown on a field with other players who are just as good in their role as he is in his, he excels. He's in top 3 receiver conversations. He's in best receiver in the league conversations. We're not going to be looking up at the end of the season and talking about A.J. Brown as potentially the best receiver in the NFL unless Drake May just really becomes that guy in year 3 and really just is carving up defenses and putting him in a position to be successful.
I don't think he'll do that. I don't think he'll do that. I don't think Drake May will do that.
That's what my take is hinging on, though. Like, I think at this rate, assuming that Drake May is at least kind of close to what he was this past season against these different teams,
I don't think he'll
assuming
be
we get
that though,
MVP
Shane.
caliber. Well, that's
I don't
what
think.
my take is hinging on, and I'll pass it to you in a second, Jerry. My take is if we do get another MVP caliber Drake May, assuming he doesn't like regress, not saying he has to like take a step forward necessarily, but
Yeah.
assuming he doesn't regress,
Yeah.
on a team that has solid number twos in Romeo Dobbs, Kayshon Boutte, who had a pretty standout year this year. On with the run game that they have established, if they can also shore up more protection, which they would have the ability to do in the draft this year, and the fact that they do have what could be an elite defense in the NFL, an elite corner in Gonzo, and an elite front led by Milton Williams and Christian Barmore, honestly, a talented secondary as a whole. I think AJ Brown added in combination with all of those other elements, I think could be the difference between the Patriots winning that division and them falling second behind the Bills 100%. Because if you look at the Bills and the Patriots side by side right now with AJ Brown, I think the Patriots are better in almost every aspect other than the quarterback position and maybe O-line. Like if you look at receivers, I would take with AJ Brown, I would take the Patriots receiver room with AJ Brown over DJ Moore and the Bills receiver room. I would take
Because the Bills never really have a good
I would take
receiver room, though. That's the thing.
I would take James Cook right now over the Patriots, but the Patriots could have a better run game by committee than the Bills because there isn't really the Bills don't have a 1-2 punch. They just have a one. You know what I mean?
They have a 1-2 punch. They 100% have a 1-2 punch. It's James Cook and Josh Allen. This is the thing. Okay.
Well, okay. Well, that's. But I'm saying running back specific though. I'm saying running back specifically with the step Travion Henderson took this year during the season. I think that could definitely be a better run game by committee than the Bills. Now, obviously, the Bills have a better running back in James Cook, 100%.
No, for sure.
But the Patriots have a better run game by committee. They would have a better receiver room as a whole. They would have a better number one receiver.
But the difference is,
and they would have a much better defense. Much better defense.
The difference is the quarterback position, though. That's the thing. If we're just gonna take Josh Allen, Drake May, we're gonna give the edge to Josh Allen because Josh Allen has actually proven himself more than Drake May. Quarterback, I just don't think he's going to have the same level of production last year or elevate his game. With Josh Allen, I for sure know that we're going to get a better Josh Allen or the same. It's just I believe in consistency.
Marcus, I'll give you the last word and then we got to move on to the next division.
I have nothing more to say other than you're a fool if you think AJ Brown's the difference between the Patriots winning or losing the division. That just doesn't make any sense at all.
We're gonna have to respectfully disagree on that because just of what we've seen from AJ Brown. But moving on, AFC North, a division that has been one of the most, if not the most competitive division regularly, at least over the decade, is now seems like it's slipping slightly. But this year, a lot of changes to this division. This division probably looks more different than has probably had the most change than any other division. Like 3 teams out of this division have new coaches. Mike McCarthy to the Steelers, the Ravens getting Jesse Minter, the Browns getting Todd Monken. A lot of different change. Who wins this division? Jerry, I'll start with you being the resident Steelers fan on the chat.
This hurts because when we talked about this topic, like I was like AFC North, like I really want to say the Steelers, but I know in my heart the Baltimore Ravens are going to win the division. And it's not because of just like Lamar. It's just literally just because I think that they understand that like last year, like in a sense, it was their time and they missed out on the opportunity. I feel like with the Steelers, there's no improvement. There's no sort of upgrade. Like granted, we got a new coach. Cool. Did we want him? I don't really believe so. So it's unfortunate that the Steelers possibly may go 8-8 again, but I think the Ravens are going to have a better season. I don't think, and then, looking at the Bengals too, like their defense is atrocious. I don't see them taking it to the next level. So it hurts to say, but the Baltimore Ravens are going to win the division. But I hope I'm wrong.
Marcus, what about you?
I don't care who wins the division, if I'm just being honest with you. Like, it doesn't – scheme of things, like, Okay, let's just go down the list, right? If the Browns win the division, what do we say? This is an exceptional year for Shedeur Sanders. Love this for Todd Monken. Like, this is great for the Browns. The future is set, right? If the Steelers win the division, this is somehow a feather in the cap of Aaron Rodgers until they lose in the wild card weekend, and then he goes into the sunset, gallivanting off ayahuasca into the Hall of Fame eventually, right? If the Bengals win the division, it's, oh, great. Well, Joe Burrow's that guy. We always knew that, despite the atrocious defense. The Ravens win the division. What conversations are we having? Like, genuinely, like what really is the narrative if the Ravens win the division? They were supposed to win the division. They're the best team in the division. They're the best quarterback in the division. You can argue, even though this is his first one as a head coach, they probably have the best head coach in the division, right? Talent-wise, on paper, the best team, top to bottom, in just about every single major area on the football field. So really, what are we talking about here? The Baltimore Ravens should win the division. They probably will win the division. But we all know that, like, regular season accolades is not what we measure the success of the Baltimore Ravens for anymore. So quite frankly, I don't care who wins the division. Matter of fact, I want the Browns to win. I want the Browns to win the division so that we can come on and we can talk about how great Shedeur Sanders is and people can stop disrespecting him. Because the world won't stop spinning if the Baltimore Ravens win the division. We'll just have the same conversation about how they're Super Bowl MVP, or I'm sorry, how they're Super Bowl contenders and how maybe this is the year. Is it boom bust for Lamar? And then Lamar's going to choke again, and then we're going to it doesn't matter. It
is the same conversation, though. Marcus does have a point. It is like the last 5-6 years, like we've said, like the Ravens should have been to the Super Bowl or made it to the just made it to the Super Bowl. But it's like it gets to a point, let's get real here, like, okay, you win the division, but what are you going to do about it? And if you do nothing about it, it's vague. It isn't a success at all, unless you're the Browns.
I'm not gonna lie. Marcus, I'm kind of with you. Like, I'm rooting for the Browns this year. Like, I would love to see.
Oh, y'all want the Browns to win the division? Like, actually, y'all want the Browns to win? Like,
I would love for the Browns to win the division this year. I think it would be, 100%. I think it would be a huge, like,
I can respect that though.
I think it would be a huge get back to Stefanski, the way he just really did Shedeur dirty last year with the QB battle. Yep. But if I'm being honest, if I'm giving my honest prediction, I think the winners of the AFC North this year might be the Steelers. And now, before y'all jump on me, let me explain. The Steelers,
I want to hear this take.
Outside from the quarterback position, the Steelers are really the most complete team in that division this year, probably for the first time in a while. Like, if you look at the Ravens right now are probably the weakest they've been in a minute. The defense is banged up. Roquan dealing with injuries. Madubuike dealing with neck injuries. Hamilton dealing with concussions. Marlon Humphrey dealing with injuries. On the offensive side, they lose Isaiah Likely. Mark Andrews is declining. It's really just Lamar and Derrick Henry. They don't have a true receiver one in D-Hop anymore, who would have been an asset had Lamar been healthy. You look at the Browns. Shedeur, I think, is in for definitely a solid starting season, but he doesn't have a lot of talent to work with on the offensive side of the ball, especially with David Njoku leaving in free agency. Now, the Browns do have an elite defense, but we don't know what the offense is going to be. The Bengals, who knows? Like, no O-line. God knows how many games Joe Burrow will be able to play this year because of how bad that O-line is. Didn't do a lot of work on the defensive side of the ball, aside from Boye Mafe. So I would say the Steelers are the most complete squad. They have two receiver ones right now in DK and Michael Pittman. They have a decent running game by committee. Jaylen Warren, we know what Rico Dowdle is with carries. They have definitely a better O-line than the Ravens for sure after they lost Tyler Linderbaum. And then we know what that defense is. They just brought in Jaquan Brisker as well from the Bears, who a secondary that led the NFL in takeaways last year. So I would say the Steelers, I would say the Steelers are the most complete team in that division. But I will say, based on what people are saying in that building, Will Howard is getting a lot of praise. Now, I'm not saying Will Howard is like the future of their franchise, but based on what guys are saying about Will Howard, just his ability to be a potential, at least system quarterback for the talent that he has in this offense, if Will Howard is what this squad is praising him to be, I'm going to say the Steelers. But before y'all jump on me, I got something I want to show y'all, and then I want to know what you guys think. This was from Steelers head coach Mike McCarthy at the latest NFL coaches retreat, their little getaway where they go over NFL regulations and whatnot. This is what he had to say on Will Howard.
I think the biggest thing with Will, and it's probably consistent with young quarterbacks, they got to win from the pocket. At the end of the day, 9-10 games a year are going to come down to the 2-minute drill. That's what the stats tell you that's the way we train. So his ability to win from the pocket, because I think he has everything else. I mean, people get caught up on what round he went in, but if I was drafting players that year, he wouldn't have been around in the 5th or 6th round. I mean, I valued him higher than that based off Kansas State, and man, I thought he jumped out of the TV set during the college playoffs. I mean, what is there not to like about the guy? So I think he's definitely a real prospect as a starting quarterback.
Now, what I will say is, in response to this, I'm not certain that Will Howard is the guy. Like, I'm not like just fully confident that he is the guy that they need to win games. But if Will Howard can be half of what Mike McCarthy talked him up to be, a guy that has watched him closely, obviously that organization within the building knows things that we don't, being outside of the building. But if Will Howard can be half of what McCarthy praised him out to be, just being a system quarterback, doesn't make a lot of mistakes, can just utilize the offense, the talent that is in that offense, I think the Steelers have the division locked up. But Marcus, I know you clearly have something to say. Marcus, what did you think about your response to that video?
Who's the Steelers head coach?
Mike McCarthy.
Okay. What is his job going to be? He's going to be, what is he going to be doing? I'm asking, what is he going to be doing? Because they have a defensive coordinator, don't they? And he's not even the defensive guy, right? They have an offensive coordinator, right? So what is his job going to be? He's going to have the same job he had in Dallas.
The voice.
He's going to have the same job he had in Dallas. Clock management, game time situations. And we watched him fail over and over and over again. And Shane Fordham, with a straight face, with no shame in his voice at all, said the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to win the division because they have the most complete team in the division. Are you kidding me? Mike McCarthy has lost each of his last 2 head coaching jobs because he has proven that he is incapable of doing the bare minimum, managing a clock, managing game time situations. He knows Aaron Rodgers, good, great, fine. How'd that end? And him getting fired with 3 games left in the season or whatever it was in 2018. So, like, that's a wash. That have a better run game than the Ravens. When the Ravens have Derrick Henry, like, it doesn't get much better than Derrick Henry. I don't care if you have 2 backs. I don't care if you have 3 backs. I don't care if you have 5 backs in your backfield. It doesn't get much better than Derrick Henry, no matter how many bodies you have. Now, let's talk about the defense. Okay, I'll give you that. The defense on paper should be talented, but we all know the Steelers' defense the last couple of years has not been a Steelers defense to be proud of. That's for sure.
Injuries in different units, different personnel.
Okay, they're also getting older. They're also getting older on both sides of the ball. So what I'm saying to you is the Pittsburgh Steelers, we're saying might win the division because they're the most complete team in the division when they have just as many questions about their team as probably every other team in the division, if not more. And all those questions are unreasonable. They're unreasonable questions. Really, what version of Aaron Rodgers are we going to get in the year of our Lord 2026?
I'm not sure. That's what I'm concerned with.
What version of Jaylen Warren are we going to get in the year of our Lord 2026? Is going to be
you could ask second
half of the season.
What
version of Michael Pittman are we going to be getting this year? What version of DK Metcalf?
You can say that about anybody.
This year?
You can say that about any player.
Pittsburgh
you can literally say that about any player. What version of Zay Flowers? What version of Zay Flowers are we going to see this year? What version of Derrick Henry? What version of Derrick Henry are we going to see this year based on how he started last season? He was leading the league. He was leading the league in fumbles. Like, what version? Like, you can say that about any player.
Derrick Henry, if I'm not mistaken, rushed for 2,000 yards 2 years ago, and last year rushed for 1,700 or something like that. So, oh wow, he had 200 less rushing yards or whatever it was. Derrick, you are not going to sit here and tell me that you have more confidence in the Pittsburgh Steelers than you have in a proven commodity like Derrick Henry. You're not.
But it's not. But it's not.
You're not going to sit here and tell me
it's not
you have
just
more confidence in the consistency of a Michael Pittman or a DK Metcalf than you do in a guy like. Sorry, he rushed for 1,600 yards. Excuse me, I gave him an extra 100. My bad. You're not going to sit here and tell me
1,900 in 2024.
You're not going to sit here and tell me that Zay Flowers has not been a consistently good wide receiver. This is the thing we do with the Ravens. We sit here and we knock people. We sit here and we knock their talent because comparatively their talent isn't maybe up to the level that what maybe we might want them to be compared to what the Chiefs have or what the Eagles have or what the Cowboys have or what some of these other teams have. But last I checked, Zay Flowers in back-to-back years, over 1,000 yards. Last I checked, in back-to-back years, we're talking about a guy in Zay Flowers who recorded over 70 receptions. Back-to-back years, a guy who averaged, 13, 14 yards of reception? Back-to-back years, Zay Flowers was clearly the best receiver on this football team, and Lamar Jackson favors him and trusts him. And you want to sit here and tell me that, we don't know what version of Zay Flowers we're going to get this season? If we take a look at the 3 years Zay Flowers has played football, year 1, 858, 5 touchdowns. Year 2, 1059, 4 touchdowns. Last year, 1211 and 5 touchdowns. That's the epitome.
What did that do?
If you ask me,
Marcus, what did that do? Like, what did
They didn't go nowhere though.
And we're saying that Zay Flowers
lead to? What did those years lead to? Because if you want to bring up numbers, we can also bring up. Hold on. If you want to bring up numbers, we can also bring up the games that Zay Flowers has lost for the Ravens. We can also bring up the AFC Championship game against the Chiefs. We can also talk about his crucial fumble at the goal line that would have been a potential game winner, game icer, but instead went in the Chiefs' favor. We can talk about the games last year that Zay Flowers
again. Where you're doing this thing where we're going to talk about what Zay Flowers did at the end of the game in the second half, but we're going to ignore the 2 and 3 turnovers Lamar Jackson had in the first half. Well, let's do the math. Let's do the math here, Shane. If Lamar Jackson isn't spotting teams 2 possessions worth of points from picks and turnovers in the first half, does a fumble at the end of the game really matter? If we're scoring, we're supposed.
It still matters. That doesn't get Lamar Jackson off.
So we can ignore the fact that Lamar Jackson turned the ball over twice in the first half of that game. We can ignore the fact that
doesn't get Lamar Jackson off scot-free. But the fact is that two things can be true though. 2 things can be true. Lamar Jackson gave the game away, but also Zay Flowers did his part in giving the game away. Like 2 things can be true. So, it doesn't have to be Lamar. Blame doesn't have to just be one person specific. Blame is for whoever deserves the blame.
Who is the guy that if he retires tomorrow is going into the Hall of Fame? Is it Zay Flowers or is it Lamar Jackson?
It's Lamar Jackson. What's the point?
Who is the guy that we regard as all world at his position? Is it Lamar Jackson or Zay Flowers?
It's Lamar Jackson.
Who is the guy that we say is probably unequivocally the most talented player in his position we've ever seen? Is it Zay Flowers or Lamar Jackson?
Lamar Jackson.
Who's the guy that people are having arguments with to this day about whether or not he's the best guy in the business? Is it Zay Flowers or is it Lamar Jackson?
It's Lamar Jackson.
Okay, so you want to sit here and you want to tell me that Lamar Jackson can turn the ball over 2, 3, 4 times. He can turn the ball over umpteen times in the first half. His completion percentage can drop. His touchdown percentage can drop. His yards per game can drop. All of these things can drop from regular season to postseason. But I'm going to look at Zay Flowers because he fumbled the ball in the second half and say that's the reason why they lost. It's all on Zay Flowers.
I didn't say that was just the reason. I said that was a major reason why.
Old world guy.
Because if he scores,
the guy who plays from September to January as one of the best, if not the best in the business, all of a sudden that goes away. And I'm supposed to look at that and say, dang, I need more from Zay Flowers? No, I need more from the guy that's won a unanimous MVP.
Both are true.
Guy that's 2-time,
both are 100% true. Like if Zay Flowers,
not all blame is created equal. If Zay Flowers holds on, not all blame is created equal.
All blame isn't created equal.
If Zay Flowers,
because Lamar is the better.
If Zay Flowers holds on to the ball, is it a different game? If Zay Flowers holds on to the ball for that play and he scores, is it a different game? Yes or no?
Yeah, I'm not denying that, but you're missing my point.
I'm not saying it was just. I'm not.
You got
no. I didn't. Let me finish.
You're talking about a fumble at the end. If he holds onto the ball, the game is different. Sure. If Lamar Jackson doesn't fumble the ball in the first half, the game is different. If Lamar Jackson doesn't throw a pick in the first half, the game is different. If Lamar Jackson scores after 2 defensive stops by the Ravens defense, the game is different. So again, 100%. We can sit here and just do the easy thing and point to the Zay Flowers fumble because that was at the end of the game and just completely ignore all the mistakes in the first half. That's fine. But we all know all blame is not created equal. Not only is he the best player on the team, he plays the most important position on the team. He's all world. He's the most talented. He's an MVP. He's the only multi-time MVP to never step foot on a field in February, bro. This stuff matters. So am I saying that Zay Flowers is great? Am I saying he's abdicated of all wrongdoing? No. But am I going to sit here and point to a Zay Flowers fumble and be like, he needs to be better when the numbers are showing me that Zay Flowers has consistently been everything that people say that he's not? What is a legitimate and reliable number one receiver in the NFL? That I have a problem with because his quarterback is the reason why they haven't been.
Marcus,
his quarterback is the reason why they haven't hosted up a Lombardi Trophy since he's been there. The same guy with tears in his eyes back in 2018 promised a Super Bowl for the franchise, has done nothing in the postseason to make that happen. But
you're really making my point, because my point even wasn't just specifically focused on Zay Flowers. My point was that the Ravens are not more of a complete team than the Steelers. You brought up names like Derrick Henry. You brought up names like Lamar Jackson. You brought up names like Zay Flowers. Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, and Zay Flowers are not enough to say the Ravens are more of a complete team than the Steelers. When you look at those three guys, Derrick Henry got a rocky start to last season, leading the league in fumbles, and that was because you brought up the argument. What version of Michael Pittman are we going to see this year? What version of so-and-so are we going to see this year? The same question can be asked about those same guys when you have
Derrick Henry rushed for 1,600 yards last year. What are we talking about?
He cleaned it up, but he got off to – that was probably the worst start to a season that Derrick Henry has ever had.
Shane.
We also saw –
Let
me finish and then I'll pass it to you, Jared. Let me finish. We've also seen Zay Flowers have his moments where he just forgets how to play football. Yes, he's consistently one of the better receivers in the NFL, but he does also have those moments where he forgets how to play football, where he thinks he's back in college, where he can just do whatever with the ball in his hands, and it ends up resulting in a forced fumble turnover. We've also seen Lamar Jackson, as you pointed out, not be able to come through in the playoffs. So when I make the argument that the Steelers are more of a complete team than the Ravens, bringing up Lamar Jackson, Zay Flowers, and Derrick Henry, just those three names by themselves is not enough to make up for the fact. It's not enough to say, oh, because the Ravens have those three guys, the Ravens are more of a complete team and more talented team than the Steelers going into 2027. When you do have to account for when you look at the Steelers have two receiver ones in DK Metcalf and Michael Pittman Jr., two guys who I would take as a receiver one over Zay Flowers, because I honestly feel like that's been part of the problem with the Ravens, and that the Ravens, aside from last year where Lamar Jackson was hurt, they haven't had a true number one receiver. They've had other pass catching threats.
Okay, again,
they've had other pass catching threats. They haven't had a clear number one receiver. Jackson. The Steelers have two of them this year. The Steelers have two running backs that can be started.
In Lamar Jackson's career. Okay, no, hold on real quick, because this is the thing that blows me. We're saying Zay Flowers wasn't a number one receiver. The man had almost 1,300 receiving yards. Over the course of Lamar Jackson's career, we have seen him have several 1,000-yard receivers. So let's not act like Zay Flowers is a bum. Let's not.
He's not a bum. He's not a bum.
No. I didn't say he was a bum. I just said he's not. I just said naming Zay Flowers and like as if he's enough to make the argument that the Ravens are more complete offensively. The same year where they lost the guy who had a.
Hold on. Put a pin in it. So let's go bar for bar. If we put Lamar Jackson and Aaron Rodgers in a quarterback room, who's QB1?
Lamar.
Great. If I put Derrick Henry in a QB room with in a running back room with Jaylen Warren and whoever else they have in the backfield, who's the running back one?
Derrick Henry.
Great. If I take Mark Andrews and I put him in a tight end room with whoever their tight end room, who's it? Darnell Washington. Who's starting at tight end?
Pat Freiermuth.
Whoa.
We're losing.
Pat
Freiermuth.
I don't think I'm a Steelers fan. I don't
know. Have y'all been watching Mark Andrews play? Have y'all been watching Mark Andrews play football over the past 2 years? Have y'all been watching Mark Andrews play football over the past 2 years? But go ahead, finish your argument. Because if you go to receivers, I'm gonna also pick the Steelers. so go ahead, finish. Because
there's a lot of stuff.
I'm picking Michael Pittman Jr. If you go Zay Flowers or DK Metcalf, I'm taking DK Metcalf. If you go the Ravens O-line versus the Steelers O-line this year, I'm going the Steelers O-line. I'm not taking a Ravens O-line without Tyler Linderbaum at center, with Lamar Jackson probably playing more under center this year to help with the run game. I'm taking the Steelers O-line. So if you want to keep going the same example, I'm going with the Steelers. Why would
Lamar be playing more under center this year to help with the run game? Why would that be happening?
Because under center is better for the run game.
But why would he be playing more under center this year compared to years past when the Ravens have consistently had?
Well, he's probably not playing more this year, especially with no Ty Linderbaum under center. You're not going to put Lamar Jackson just under anybody. But that's just my point.
You just said he would be playing more under center.
My point is that the O-line is significantly weaker this year without Linderbaum than it would have been with Linderbaum, which is why I would take the Steelers. So if you're gonna go finish your soliloquy here in terms of who I'm picking,
Whose
if I'm picking
secondary
a
would you
side,
prefer? Whose secondary would you prefer?
Steelers.
It's crazy. This
Actually,
is crazy.
no, I lied. That low key, that might be even because of how injured they are.
Oh my god,
Wait, bro, Kyle Hamilton just got
It's
another
April.
concussion.
What
It's April. We're
Bro,
talking about
a
if
concussion-
everyone is fully healthy and fully available. You're
But that's not the
telling me
case. But that's not the case. You
This
can't
is-
just say that because that's
How
not
is
the
it not
I
case.
do
for the
not like
Ravens
this. I do
defense.
not like this
it's
argument.
That's not the
April.
case.
And I'm a
What do you
Steelers
mean it's
fan.
not the case? It's
Because
April.
that's not the case. The Ravens defense is not fully healthy, and you can't just assume they will be
It's
fully
the
healthy
off
in April.
season.
Bro,
So
do you know? First
think,
of all,
okay,
first
so
of
you're
all,
telling me
look
that
at the
Ravens are
injuries,
going to
though.
walk into their first game in September with just a completely decimated secondary is what you're telling me.
I didn't say decimated, but
we're gonna go 4 months
they're going to
and
be
not a
recovering from
single
injuries.
improvement is going to be made health
They're
wise
going-
in the Baltimore Ravens secondary.
Kyle Hamilton is going to be recovering from injuries that Jaquan Brisker won't be. Marlon Humphrey is going to be recovering from injuries that Jalen Ramsey won't be. Like they're like Matabike is going to be recovering from an injury that Cam Hayward won't be. Like there are significant injuries, borderline serious injuries that the Ravens defense are dealing with right now that the Steelers defense is not. And now you're not going to tell me what defense overall am I taking between the Steelers. And if we want to go healthy, fully healthy squads, are you going to tell me I'd be wrong for taking the Steelers?
I would just be confused why.
I'll give y'all the last
and
word because we got to move on. But
And I'll just keep it
I'm not
short.
saying anything
Like,
else.
Shane, you're kind of wrong, bro. Like, and I'm a Steelers fan. Like, I love your confidence, I love your faith, but like, if we're being honest, it's the unknown with the Steelers, and that's my problem. I know what I'm going to get from Lamar. Essentially, I know what I'm going to get from Derrick Henry. Yes, Zay Flowers is going to fumble, but I know what he's going to do. He's going to produce. Do I think he's the number one? Not really. That's where we agree, but. I think the Ravens gonna take the AFC North, but that's all I'm gonna leave right there before we start another argument. So, next,
all right, moving on quickly to the AFC South. Jags, Texans, Colts. Jags finished 13-4 last year, winning the division. Texans coming up right behind them, 12-5. Colts 8-9. Really, that's a squad that really looked like a Super Bowl contender before Danny Dimes, aka Daniel Jones, went down. And then the Titans, of course, in their sort of rebuilding mode, finishing 3-14. Jay, well, we'll start with you this time. Who wins this division, in your opinion, in the AFC South?
when thinking about this, I was like, man, the Texans might win it, but I think it's going to be the Jags this year. And the reason why is I feel like that, the Texans there's a lot of questions, especially at that quarterback position. Like, you end the season off with L. I think Marcus, here you go. I think that
We are losing.
there's no sort of like direction that they're going in. So I'm going to take the Jags. I think we have Trevor Lawrence, a quarterback that actually knows what he's doing, that's actually progressing and is achieving. I think that the Jags might take it this year, but it's going to be close. Not the Colts at all. Not seeing them do anything special this year.
Marcus, go ahead.
Bro, Jerry, I don't like when you get lazy on me. I don't like when you get lazy on me, and you got lazy on me.
What you mean?
What questions do we have at the quarterback position for the Houston Texans?
Nobody like CJ Stroud. Like, he's not their guy. He's the guy on their team, but he's like, nobody's sold on him. Like, are you a fan of CJ Stroud? Like,
Why wouldn't I be?
do you see what he does?
Why wouldn't I be?
Like, is he elevating?
Has he had all of his weapons at his disposal the last 2 years?
No, but no.
Oh, no. Has he had all his weapons at his disposal the last 2 years?
No, but you still have to.
Okay,
you still have to show up.
Okay, so rookie year, 4,100 yards, 23 touchdowns. Great year, right?
Great year, yes.
All his weapons are at his disposal. Okay, the year after that, his receivers are missing all of his receivers between Nico Collins, Tank Dell, and Stephon Diggs. All three of them combined missed a season's worth of games. And what did he do? Complete the same number of passes, throw for 400 less yards, throw 3 less touchdowns, throw more picks. Sure, I get it, more picks.
Where'd they go?
But comparatively, his weapons are not at his disposal, and you're telling me the difference between year 1 and year 2 is 400 less yards, 3 less touchdowns? Okay, let's go to last year where he himself also missed time. Did he have all the weapons at his disposal last year?
No, he didn't.
He did not. but yet somehow he completed a higher percentage of his passes. He threw less touchdowns than the year before. He still had 19 touchdowns. We're sitting here acting like C.J. Stroud has had Nico Collins and Tank Dell consistently and is just flopping, and that's not the case. That's just
where'd they go? Where'd they go?
What do you mean? Where'd they go?
Like, has he been progressing? Like that's my
What I
thing.
will
As
say
he
is
had all of his weapons at his disposal.
No.
Okay.
Like,
When have we ever expected a quarterback without all his weapons at his disposal to progress, to be better than the year before? Because last I checked, in order for the numbers to improve, the players around you have to improve.
yeah,
Correct?
you're, and I get that.
So
No,
who
you're right
has he
about
been
that.
throwing to for his numbers for us to get to a point where we're like, this guy CJ Stroud has been better? Who has he been throwing to? Who?
Not
It
his,
hasn't been
not,
Tank
not,
Dell. It
not
hasn't
his
been Nico
number one
Collins.
options.
Okay.
Okay.
So
but
why are we
Marcus, do
holding
you
that
think
against him?
you think he's about to like be a dog this year or something?
Fully healthy CJ Stroud with a fully healthy Nico Collins and a fully healthy Tank Dell is going to be once again a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. Well, when he was fully healthy and when he had a fully healthy Nico Collins and he had a fully healthy Tank Dell in 2023, he was a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. So yes, I think if everything goes right, if they're healthy this year, he's top 10 in the NFL. Let me ask you this question. You're the Eagles fan on the show. Are the numbers that we've seen from CJ Stroud the last 2 years not eerily similar to the numbers we saw from when he was throwing to JJ Arcega-Whiteside and them boys before they got Devontae Smith, before they got AJ Brown? We weren't sitting here saying back then that that Jalen Hurts wasn't progressing. We weren't saying that we had questions about Jalen Hurts. We were applauding Jalen Hurts for taking that team to go 9-8 into Tampa
I think
Bay, almost win that game. We were applauding Jalen Hurts for handling that situation in Philadelphia and using.
Now we know we give Jalen Hurts a pass.
Marcus,
so-
I see. Whoa,
I'm not
wait a
going to
minute.
sit here
Wait a
and
minute.
not give that same benefit of the doubt to a guy who has shown me at his best in year one, he's an MVP candidate and a bona fide top 10 guy in the league. And to answer
Marcus,
the question, if it's not
Marcus,
already
are they
apparent,
winning the division?
I have the Texans winning the division this year.
Marcus, here's why I'm with you.
That'll be
I'm with
second
you
on
in a
my list.
sense where CJ Stroud, yes, has definitely been without his talent. That's a dip you could expect. Still being an above 3,000 yard passer though, which I think is impressive.
Yeah,
The fact that
Marcus,
he
I'm
didn't
not
have
saying he's
Nico, the fact
trash.
that
I
he
just
didn't have
don't
Tank.
think.
But hold on, Jerry. What I will say is, yes, he hasn't had his talent 100%. I do think CJ Stroud with a healthy Nico, a healthy Tank, I would have liked to see them keep Christian Kirk, but with a healthy Dalton Schultz, I do think that is a significantly better CJ Stroud. But where you bring in the Jalen Hurts comparison, a Jalen Hurts with JJ Arcega-Whiteside and CJ Stroud with a Christian Kirk, Jalen Hurts still wasn't throwing 4 turnovers in a vital playoff game. I think that's the difference. That's the only thing I would say in terms of my unknown for CJ, where I think J. Will was trying to allude to. That's the only thing I would say about CJ Stroud is 4 turnovers in a playoff game is inexcusable regardless. That like you still have like that's inexcusable regardless. Now I'm not saying
Well,
he's
we've
wrong
seen,
for,
wait,
I'm not,
but we've seen Jalen
hold on,
Hurts turn the ball over
wait,
4 times in a game.
wait.
So
Not in the playoff
let's not
game.
hang on.
Not in the playoff game, and that happened
That's not the
one
point.
time this year. One
Okay,
time
and
this
how-
year
How many
during
times
the
has CJ Stroud had
during
a
the
4
turmoil.
turnover game?
Hold on, wait. Let me finish. With CJ Stroud, that is like the dip in production is expected 100%. But now, and when I bring up the game against the Patriots, I'm not saying he should have gone out there and win the game to prove that he is a good quarterback when his guys are hurt. I'm not saying he gets a knock from me because he lost that game. What I'm saying is 4 turnovers in a playoff game is concerning regardless of who's on the field. Jalen Hurts, when you try to bring in Jalen Hurts and compare him to Jalen Hurts has never had 4 turnovers in a playoff game in his life. His touchdown to turnover ratio in the playoffs looks vastly different than what CJ Stroud's looks, at least after this year. So I'm with you in terms of CJ Stroud not deserving the sort of the knock on him after these past 2 seasons because of the talent. But when you bring Jalen Hurts into the conversation, like those are like we're talking 2 different things here. 2 different things.
Fighting words.
Let me ask you a question, just real quick. When Jalen Hurts was throwing passes to JJ Arcega-Whiteside on the football field, did he play a defense in the playoffs that year that was as good as the Patriots defense? No, he didn't. The Patriots were a top 5 defense. When y'all went to Tampa Bay, in fact, they were a top 3 defense.
Was Tampa not an elite defense that year? Was Tampa not an elite defense of the year?
Were they turning teams over the way the Patriots were turning teams over this year?
Hold on. Let's not.
Were they
underplay
turning
that Bucs
teams
defense.
over the way
That
the
Bucs
Patriots
defense-
turned teams
That
over?
Bucs defense, talent-wise,
very
is
simple
one
yes or
of the
no
most
question.
talented defenses that we have seen in like maybe the past, at least in the playoff-wise, in the past like maybe 7 to 8 years. Like we're talking a defensive line that had Shaq Barrett and JPP coming off the edge, Vita Vea at that 3 tech at that 0. You had
doesn't
a
answer my question.
linebacking core of Levante David and
Doesn't
Devin
answer my
White.
question.
You had a secondary that had Antoine Winfield. Like that was a
Doesn't
squad.
answer my
So,
question.
It does answer your
Does
question.
not.
You're trying
No,
to
it
downplay
does
the
not.
Bucs
I
defense.
asked you a very straightforward question. Were the Tampa Bay Buccaneers turning teams over the way that the Patriots were turning teams over this year? The answer to that question is no.
First of all,
They
look at
were
the
not.
offenses they were playing, though. Look at the I'm not trying to take away from the Pats defense. Y'all know I am a defensive guy. I have much respect for defensive orchestrators, great defensive play. But you have to also, if we're gonna count this, if we're gonna count the schedule that the Pats had this past season against Drake May and their Super Bowl success, then we have to at least take that into account a little bit when we talk about this Patriots defense. Now, not to say this Patriots defense wasn't like that for sure. Y'all just heard me call them an elite defense. But at the same time, we're not going to act like Jalen Hurts didn't have to see tough competition in the playoffs his first year starting in the Bucs with how loaded that squad was. we're not going to do that.
We're not
Especially
having
with
a
the
talent
offense that was on the field.
But this
when
isn't
the
a talent
defense wasn't.
conversation. But this isn't a talent conversation, so that has nothing
It
to
is
do
a
with
talent
that.
conversation
It's
because
not.
what did that defense? The defense was a Super Bowl caliber
Comparing
defense.
Jalen Hurts to CJ Stroud right now.
The defense was a Super Bowl caliber defense.
I didn't
All
say
I'm
they
saying
weren't.
is-
Did I say
now,
they weren't?
Marcus, I'm
Wait,
with
did I
you in
say they
terms of
weren't?
I'm with you in terms of the
Did I
CJ
say they were
Stroud
not
conversation.
Super Bowl caliber?
But when you try
Obviously,
to compare
the reigning
him
Super
to-
Bowl champions had a Super Bowl caliber defense. They returned all 22 starters. That's never happened before. But I never said they weren't Super Bowl caliber. I actually a very, very simple question. Did the Buccaneers, the year they played Jalen Hurts in the first round of the playoffs in their building, were they turning teams over the way the Patriots?
But that doesn't mean that Jalen Hurts' comp was slight, though. Like that doesn't mean what you're trying to make it mean.
Never said it was.
That is what you're trying to say.
It's
that because the Pats defense had more turnovers in the regular season, that means that gives CJ Stroud a leg up in this conversation because he had four turnovers in this game. 4 turnovers. And we're not even talking about turnovers that were just like the defense's fault. Like not all of those turnovers were the defense's fault in terms of they got to CJ Stroud, they routed him. Some of those throws were CJ Stroud just making bad decisions, throwing it straight into the arms of the secondary, throwing it straight into the chest, the numbers as if they were his receivers. Like we're not going to act like because the Patriots had a better year statistically than what was that like 2020 Bucs defense had. We're not going to act like that Bucs defense wasn't way more of a talented unit than what Jalen Hurts had on the offensive side of the ball. But that's all I'm going to say before we move on.
Again, never said that was the case, but this is Shane's world, so we'll just live with whatever narrative Shane wants to run with. Because I never once said anything about the talent or the respect for the Bucs defense. I asked
you tried to downplay them.
No, I did not. No, I did not. I gave them their credit, and then I asked you a question. Credit, and then I asked you a question. Very, very simple stuff here. All I said was, were they turning teams over? In fact, given that they were more talented, wouldn't it be a little bit more if we are going to play the let's slight them a little bit game? Let's say we are playing the sliding the Bucs defense game that year. Let's say we are doing this. Let's be devil's advocate for a second. As talented as that defense was, a defense that won a Super Bowl the year before, returning all 11 starters, isn't it a bit odd that as talented as they were, as superiorly talented they were, and compared to this year's Patriots defense, doesn't it seem a little bit odd that they weren't turning teams over as much as the Patriots were this year? Given that they were more talented, because it doesn't matter the offense they were facing, they were undeniably, unequivocally one of, if not the absolute best defense in the league that year, and they had a Super Bowl ring to show for it. So we can live in Shane's magical world where me asking a question means I'm slighting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That was not the point. I said all that basically to prove the point that I am not going to sit here and hold 2 down years from CJ Stroud against him when the first year he had a down year, he played all 17 games. He didn't have all his weapons at his disposal. Last year, he played 14 games. Still did not have all his weapons at his disposal. I know what CJ Stroud looks like when all of his weapons are at his disposal and he's fully healthy. It's a top 10 quarterback. And if CJ Stroud's playing top 10 caliber football, CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans are winning the AFC South. Let's move on. What's next?
Marcus, first of all, that Bucs defense in 2020, they were top 4 in both sacks and turnovers. So you bringing a difference between turnovers, specifically between the Patriots defense this year and the Bucs defense in 2020, it's not that big of a gap. Like they were still a top 4 to top 3 defense in the NFL that year, going up against a less. But you brought it up as if CJ Stroud played a much better defense than what Jalen Hurts played in 2020.
I didn't. I explicitly said, I literally just said 45 seconds ago, that Bucs defense was one of, if not the absolute best defense in the league that year. Literally just said that.
So what is bringing up that comparison do for your argument in terms of comparing the fact that the Patriots had?
Because you started talking about talent, which was never my argument. I was never saying that the Texans defense was more talented than the Bucs defense. You brought up talent. So then I asked the question.
You mean the Patriots defense?
Yes, if this is a more talented defense on paper, shouldn't they be more impactful statistically? That is what I was asking you. I did not at all say that the Patriots defense washed the Bucs defense by any stretch of the imagination. What I was saying is you sit here, we talk about, okay, Jalen Hurts didn't have 4 turnovers in that game. Lovely. Love that for Jalen Hurts. But we've seen Jalen Hurts turn the ball over multiple times in a football game before. So, that's a wash. Is it weird? Is it bad?
In a football game, not in a playoff game.
Let me finish.
Playoff game.
Let me finish. I literally was about to say that. Is it bad that he did in a playoff game? Sure. But again, if you take Jalen Hurts in year 1 as a starter, put him in that situation where all his talent is gone against that caliber defense, does he have the same game? Maybe. We don't know. What I do know, though, is that when CJ Stroud is healthy and has all the talent around him, he's a top 10 guy in the league.
For sure. I'll give you that.
Same thing about Jalen Hurts years into his career. No. Okay. Let's move on.
Wait. I'm sorry. Wait, say that last part again.
You heard what I said. Let's move on.
You said no. You
heard what I said. Let's move on.
You said are you saying so you're no, I just want to make sure I'm clear. You're saying Jalen Hurts won't be, you're saying we can't say Jalen Hurts will be a top 10 guy in the league with all of his talent on the field? Is that what you said?
No, didn't say that. Shane's
okay,
not
that's why I want to clarify. So what is
not listening? Let's move on. Because I didn't say that. Let's move on.
So what did you I'm confused though. Can you say that one more time? I'm confused. Just the last part.
CJ Stroud proved to us in year 1, fully healthy, everyone around him, he's a top 10 quarterback in the league. We could not say the same for Jalen Hurts at that time. That is the point that I am making. We talk about not wanting to compare CJ Stroud to Jalen Hurts. You are not going to sit here with a straight face, Shane, and tell me in 2021 Jalen Hurts was a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. You're not. What I'm going
to say is that CJ Stroud. What I'm going to say is you could, I'm not trying to get into another argument, but you could say CJ Stroud had more talent to work with on the offensive side of the ball than what Jalen Hurts had in 2021. I'm not going to say it was drastically different because Nico Collins and Tank were unproven at that point, but he definitely had more talent than what Jalen Hurts had in, I would take Tank Dell or Nico as my receiver 1 over Jalen Reagor. Like that, the argument can definitely be made in terms of resources that each quarterback had, but that's besides the point. The point is that CJ Stroud 100%, I think, wins this division this year. But you guys didn't even touch on the most important point for me in terms of why the Texans will win the division this year. And for me, that's the defense. Texans have a top 2, if not the best defense in the NFL when fully healthy. A defense that was elite last year just got even more elite this year with adding Reed Blankenship into that mix, into a secondary that was already dominant. Kalen Bullock, Derek Stingley, Lattimore, Petrie. Now you add a vet, like an older presence, a guy who can really be just a plug and play guy, a crash out, downhill, full head of steam DB and safety in Reed Blankenship. So the defense for me is also a huge component in them winning this division. But AFC West, we can finish with the AFC West. We'll have to do a whole separate episode for the NFC because we got a lot to talk about in the NFC. AFC West, Broncos winning the division 14-3, being, I believe, the last remaining undefeated team in the NFL last year in the regular season. Chargers finishing the year 11-6, Chiefs finishing 6-11, also in big part due to Mahomes going down with that leg injury around midseason. Raiders, of course, 3-14, number one pick in the draft this year. Now, looking at the Raiders, though, in this division, before we get into division winners, are you guys intrigued by the Raiders at all going into 2027? And before you guys answer, let me first just explain to you how active they have been this offseason. They breaking news today, they just signed Kirk Cousins, $172 million deal, expected to be a mentor, take on that mentor role to Fernando Mendoza, who they are expected to take number 1 overall in the draft this year. On top of that, they sign Pro Bowl center Tyler Linderbaum. They reinforce the defense, bringing in Kwity Paye, but most importantly, they still have Max Crosby on the roster after that botched Ravens trade. They bring in, they arguably have one of the best linebacker cores in the league this year now in Nakobe Dean, Quay Walker, Mia Marcus's boys from our squads. They bring in Teron Johnson, one of the more dependable nickelbacks in the league this year. They also have Jeremy Chin on the roster, who had a solid year in Washington the season before last. Are you guys intrigued by the Raiders at all going into 2027?
Hey,
Jerry, I'll start with you.
Dry on the wall.
That was funny because Shane made it sound like this was like they were making so many amazing moves. But like, to answer the question, y'all watch My Wife and Kids? Y'all remember that show? No? Okay. Yeah, Marcus, you know it?
I'm familiar.
What he said? Nah. Like they're the Raiders, bro. Like nobody expects them to do anything. We expect them to get Fernando Mendoza. Cool. You won a cookie. Great. You're probably gonna win 4 games this year. Like nobody cares about you. Like you're allergic to prosperity. Your organization is trash. Like let's just get real here, guys. Like they're not going nowhere. So no. Next.
Nobody cares about you.
Like nobody cares. Like you know, like they're like the middle, like not okay. Let me not say that the middle child, but like they get no attention. Like next, shuffle.
Marcus,
I'd rather watch paint dry on the wall than watch the Las Vegas Raiders play football. In fact, I will watch my paint dry on the wall when the Las Vegas Raiders play football.
Sign me up for the team. I'll play wide receiver.
You just said the Raiders might have the best linebacker core in football.
That's a crazy thing to say. Nakobe Dean and Quay Walker healthy? That's crazy. That's crazy. They're not in conversation for top five linebacker cores in the NFL.
No. What are we
top? All right, Marcus, real quick. Top 5 linebacker cores in the NFL right now.
Well, you love the Steelers. Let's throw the Steelers out there, since apparently they're the most.
They're
complete,
not even. I wouldn't.
They're the most complete team in football, apparently. So we'll throw them out there.
That's all right.
The Eagles have a better linebacking core than
I'll give you that.
Nakobe Dean.
Sure.
We have a better linebacking core than Quay Walker and Nakobe Dean.
The Lions?
Sure.
The Lions have a better linebacking core than Quay Walker and Nakobe Dean. Who else?
Hey,
the Niners have a better linebacking core.
Win healthy, of course.
Sure.
The Broncos have a better linebacking core. Who else?
The Patriots?
The Patriots have a better linebacking core.
Okay.
The Patriots. What about the Browns? No.
The Browns definitely have
better. Carson Schlesinger after 1 year. That's what you're.
I'm sorry.
And
Carson
Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is hurt right now.
It's April.
Bro, do you know what his injury is?
Bro, okay.
Bro messed up his back. Like that's not a. You're expecting him to just walk just because it's a new. This ain't Madden. Just because it's a new season, you're not automatically regenerated. Like that takes time. Now I'll give it to you. Like I think that's a conversation. A healthy
80% of JOK is better than Nakobe Dean. 80% of JOK is better than Quay Walker.
I don't agree with that at all.
Stop it.
I don't agree with that at all. But go finish your take about the Raiders. I didn't want to. I was just wondering in terms of what you thought in terms of that conversation was. I think it's arguable. At the very least, it's arguable in terms of top 5 for that linebacker core.
Look up linebacker cores in the NFL.
It's very arguable. It's very arguable.
It's not.
You don't think it's arguable? Bro,
no.
Quay Walker, I think, has been one of the most dependable linebackers in the league for at least 2 seasons. Nakobe Dean, when healthy.
Said what?
When Nakobe Dean, when healthy.
What did you just say?
Quay Walker has been a dependable linebacker.
Let's move on, bro. Let's move on.
Nakobe Dean.
move
Now
on.
I'll give you
Let's move on, man.
Nakobe Dean's injury issues. I'll give you that.
This is hilarious.
He's had issues
Let's
staying
move
on
on,
the
bro.
field. I just don't think that. Jerry, what about you?
Let's
Top
move
5
on, bro.
linebacker cores. Hold up. Top 5 linebacker cores, Jerry. If the
Lions.
Raiders aren't in there, who's in there?
Lions, Niners, Patriots, Eagles. I said 4, right?
That's 4.
Steelers? Sure.
I don't even think the Steelers are in there.
Steelers at 5. Steelers at 5.
Bro. And Alex Anzalone isn't even on the Lions anymore. Like, that's just Jack Campbell. I don't think the Lions linebacker core clears what the Raiders will have at depth in 2027. I don't think the Patriots linebacker core with Christian Ellis clears what the Raiders will have.
Either way, bro.
in
Either
2027.
way.
Like, I just don't think that's the case.
Shane, either way, with this linebacker core like this, go Raiders, top 5 linebacker core, they're still not going anywhere. Who cares? Like, they can have the best defense. Well, not the best defense, but like they can have a solid defensive core. They're still not going nowhere because it's the Raiders. Like they made all these additions, but like, what's really giving?
I don't see in terms of linebacking cores. I don't see.
We're still. Hey, Marcus, we're still.
I'm gonna just finish this, and then I'll get into division winners. But I don't see 6 linebacker groups that are gonna clear this Raiders group. Like, I'll give you Eagles. I'll give you the 49ers with them getting Drake Greenlaw back and Fred Warner. I'll give you the Ravens just because of Roquan Smith by himself. I'll give you the Broncos. I don't see there being more than 5 linebacker groups that are better than the Raiders. I think Nakobe Dean and Quay Walker are right there.
Can you do me a favor? Can you name 2 or 3 other linebackers on this roster other than Nakobe Dean and Quay Walker?
That's all you need. Like, that's all. That's the only. Like, if you have those are two starters. Those are two dogs, in my opinion. If you have 2 dogs in the linebacking group, like for the Eagles, right? If we just had Zach Bond and Nakobe Dean with no Jahad Campbell, no Jeremiah Trotter, like if we just had those 2 guys, those 2 being our starting linebackers, that's still an elite linebacking core.
You don't believe that. We're moving on. You don't believe
that's
that.
still elite linebacking core.
You don't believe that. Let's move on. You don't believe that. Let's move on.
It's just funny that he just mentioned like linebacker.
I 100% believe that.
Especially
if I'm in a 4-2 defense.
Dean.
If I'm in a 4-2 defense and I have 2 inside linebackers, I have a Mike and a Sam. That's a linebacking core. That's an elite unit. If I have a 4-2 defense with Zach Bond and Nakobe Dean at depth, bro, I'm good with that linebacking group. But looking at the whole division, as a whole, another big headline: Chiefs getting Kenneth Walker. Guys, in your opinion, is this a luxury move or a championship move by the Chiefs? Super Bowl MVP. And Patrick Mahomes is expected to play. There apparently, according to The Athletic today, there is a big chance that Patrick Mahomes does start week 1. So I
don't know, like, Shane, like, is it ACL injury, correct?
Say that one more time.
He has, like, Mahomes is coming back from an ACL injury, right?
Yeah.
Like, bro, that takes time. Like, you're just not about to.
Thank you. I say a back injury will be fixed by August, but ACL injury, we're good. Oh my God.
Like, literally.
First of all, I was quoting The Athletic. I didn't make that up. That's a report.
Bro's down for a second. So, like, with this, like, Mahomes is coming back. Yeah, he may come back week 1, but he may not be himself until, like, week 11. So we don't know what to expect from him.
True.
So I can't really, that Kenneth Walker move, okay, great. But I don't know if it's going to be a championship move because I got to see how Mahomes comes back. Also, I don't know what we're going to get out of Travis Kelce. Like, it's the unknown with them as well. So it's a good move, but I don't know if this puts them over the top.
So the move of Kenneth Walker for you depends on the other elements within that offense.
Absolutely. And the major element is Patrick Mahomes. Like, is he going to be able to scramble and get out of the pocket like he used to? Like, is he going to be able to move off his back foot? Like, week 1, he gets hit once.
But I think the argument,
confidence.
I think the argument for that would be, Jerry, is that's why they got Kenneth Walker to keep Mahomes from having to play as much Superman ball, so that they, just so, because if you have a run game that you can lean on and depend on, it prevents your quarterback from having to do things that Patrick Mahomes was doing leading up to the season.
lean on the run game only for so much, and the defense is going to key on that. Like let's create the great wall. Like, you know how they create the great wall for the Bucks when Giannis like to just go in the paint? They're going to do the same thing with Walker. And then it's going to force Mahomes to get uncomfortable moving with them legs, and we don't know what can happen from there. It's tough, bro. ACL injury is nothing to play with, especially with football. So I really got to see the movement.
Marcus,
he doesn't care.
I have nothing else to say. The Chiefs are not going to make the playoffs. Let's move on.
the Chiefs are not going to be in the playoffs.
No, they're not going to.
I need you to dive.
I don't know. See, I'm not
reason.
mad at that take by Marcus. It's just I don't know because the ACL injury. We talking the same language, Marcus. You just don't know, right?
Marcus, I need to hear that from you. What's the reason?
How many teams right now are you taking over the Chiefs right now?
I assume you're leaving the AFC.
The AFC?
Yes, you're taking the Ravens. You're taking the Bills. Okay, you're taking the Chargers and the Broncos. You're doing it. You're going to do it. You're going to take the Texans.
He's taking the Steelers too.
He's taking the Steelers, knucklehead. We're going to do that too.
First of all, don't put words in my mouth. I didn't say that.
They were the most complete team in football.
I said they were the most complete team in that division.
They're the most complete team in football. Shane
I said in that division. I didn't say nothing about taking them over the Chiefs. But go ahead.
The Chiefs are not making the playoffs this year, and it's fine. All good things must come to an end. Shout out Kenneth Walker. He should have stayed in Seattle for a chance running back. He didn't. He chased He chased the bag. Fine. The Chiefs are not making the playoffs. They're not making the playoffs. The Chargers are better. The Broncos are better. The Ravens are better. The Bengals, healthy, are better. I would take them over the Chiefs if they're
Jags.
100%. Jags.
You would take a healthy Bengals team over a healthy Chiefs team?
Yes.
I think that's crazy. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think that's crazy. I think that's crazy because you look at the Bengals are probably the most one-dimensional team in the league with no defense. Like if I'm and the coaching, and like it's not even like they have coaching in their corner either. Like in a matchup with Bengals and the Chiefs, if they're meet at the end of the regular season, winner goes to the playoffs. The Chiefs are 100% winning that game. Like the defense definitely weaker now without Leo Chenal.
We don't know that.
We do 100%. Because
we don't know that.
Andy Reid is coaching circles around Zach Taylor 100%.
Okay.
A healthy Patrick Mahomes.
The Bengals have beaten the Chiefs before, correct?
Hold on. But the Bengals were a much better team when they did that. They had a much better defense and they had more of a balanced offense. They had a run game. Yeah,
a much better defense.
Much better. I'm not saying it wasn't an elite defense, but I would take that defense that they had. What was that? 2021, 2022,
which was the 17th ranked defense in the league or something.
I would. And the Bengals defense this year was what? It had to be, I believe, low or high 20s. If that, it was probably lower. The Bengals defense right now is probably the worst defense in football. And that's saying a lot because the Commanders look like
Please let's move on. Please let's move on. Please let's move on.
No.
Please let's
If
move
we're
on.
looking at these two teams side by side, they're fighting to go into the playoffs. Andy Reid is coaching circles around Zach Taylor. Patrick Mahomes is capable of beating Joe Burrow in a shootout, even with
it's the what if though.
Worthy, Tyquan Thornton, even with Travis Kelce just being like a 600 to 700 yard guy on the season.
Hey Shane,
they got Kenneth Walker in the run game. Like they have a better the passing game. In terms of passing game, that's the only thing the Bengals probably have over the Chiefs is their ability to pass the ball. But the Chiefs still have the greatest quarterback in this generation in Patrick Mahomes. They still have capable receivers in Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy. They definitely have a better run game. They'll have a better run game going into this year just with Kenneth Walker. Like there's no, like it's crazy to me that you think it's just all said and done that the Bengals would be a better team, that you would take the Bengals as a team over the Chiefs. I think that's wild.
Right now.
Also never said it's a wash. So here we are again, second time tonight.
Did you not just say the Bengals are head and shoulders above the Chiefs if you're picking teams in the AFC?
I did not say head and shoulders. I said I would take the Bengals over the Chiefs, is what I said.
But you said they were a better team than the Chiefs.
Yes.
And what, like, there's just I don't
That
understand.
can be 51-49, brother. That could be 50.5, 49.5. You live in a world of extremes. And that's
Well,
not good.
explain. Okay, explain to me what makes the Bengals a better, in your opinion, what makes the Bengals a better team than the Chiefs going into 2027?
Will Joe Burrow be healthy week 1? Will Joe Burrow be
Sure,
healthy Great.
sure,
Joe Burrow's healthy week 1. Will Jamar Chase be healthy week 1?
yes,
Will T. Higgins be healthy week 1?
yes.
Yeah.
Great. Do we know for 100% certain that Patrick Mahomes will be healthy week 1?
Nope.
No,
Do we
it's
know
an 80% chance to be clear.
So
Where's-
no, we
wait,
don't
where's the
know
80% chance
100%
coming from, though?
certainty.
As
Do
the
we
Athletic.
know? Do we know
But
the
do they
version of
really know
Travis?
until he gets on the field, though? That's my thing.
I
Do
mean,
we know
because
the
they're-
version
you
of
can ask
Travis
the question.
Kelce we're gonna? Do we know the version of Travis Kelce we're going to see play football this year?
It's not going to be elite, Travis. We can say that
Okay,
for
so
sure.
I know Joe Burrow's elite when he's healthy. I
No
know
elite
Jamar
Travis,
Chase is
we know
elite when
that.
he's healthy. I know T. Higgins is elite when he's heavy. I don't know why we sit here and act like Chase Brown and Samaje Perine are just bums, like they just don't belong in the league. It's actually a pretty decent
It's not-
1-2 punch in the backfield. I don't know why we sit here and act like Mike Gesicki is a bum as a tight end. Is he the best thing
True.
ever? No.
That's true.
Is the gap between Travis Kelce in 2026 and Mike Gesicki as massive as it was 2-3 years ago? Absolutely not. Then we talk about this defense. I don't love this defense, but there's playmakers on this defense. They've got Boye Mafe.
Maybe now they just
They've
picked
got
up.
Jack Steele,
They just picked up
Miles
Kyle Duggar, I
Murphy.
believe.
John Athlete. John Addison, DJ Turner. Like, there's talent. Jordan Battle. There's talent on this team. This Bengals defense is not Shamar Stewart. This defense is not bad because it's talentless. It's bad because it's directionless. And to just act like the Bengals defense is just god awful and just an abomination to NFL defenses is absurd. Because
It has been though. Has it not been?
But again, we've never looked at the talent on the field and been like, they don't have talent. They're not talentless. They're directionless. And that's a different problem. That's an indictment on the way the organization is run. But again, with all these questions about what the Chiefs offense is going to look like, I'm not going to sit here and just say unilaterally, oh, Chiefs Bengals match up against each other. Chiefs have it 100%. I can't do that because I know what Joe Burrow is in the big moments. I know what Jamar Chase is in the big moments. I know what T. Higgins is in the big moments. And by the way, Pat Mahomes, right? Let's say he is fully healthy come week 1. Is he really going to be fully Patrick Mahomes in week 1?
No.
Like Jerry was saying. How long is it going to take for us to get to truly see the Patrick Mahomes experience in the NFL?
8 to 11
assuming he starts in week 1. That's like really all my. That's my only thing when it comes to the Bills Chiefs thing.
I think
Chiefs thing. Excuse me.
I think where I'm coming at it from, Marcus, is where I get 100%. They have an elite quarterback when he's healthy. They have the talent on offense when they're healthy. At least Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, being elite in the elite conversation. My thing is more so the offensive line. Like Joe Burrow can be healthy week 1, but we've seen plenty of times where that offensive line has been the reason why Joe Burrow does not finish the season. And if we're looking at a Bengals offense where it's Joe Burrow, it's Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Joe Flacco is throwing them the ball. Yeah, they can put up numbers, but what is that team really going to be able to do come January, come February? So like my thing isn't that the offense has no talent or that even the run game has no talent. It's that the offensive line is so bad. It's hard for this Bengals team to really even get close to where they were about 4 years ago because the O-line is so bad. Joe Burrow can't finish 2 back-to-back consecutive seasons. Like the O-line is so bad. The run game isn't nearly as effective as it was back when they had Joe Mixon. Like, and then the defense being, for whatever reason, if you want to say, no direction, no coaching, lack of talent, which you could say has been all three, the defense has not been good whatsoever. So like, it's hard for me to like, it's not that they don't necessarily have talent, that they're a talentless team. It's just that when you look at how bad the offensive line has been, and when you look at how bad the defense has been handled or has executed, it's hard for me to say that the Bengals are going to be more of a playoff team than the Chiefs, a team that, when healthy, we've seen have always found a way to win those type of games going into 2027. But Jerry, I'll give you the last word because I know you were trying to jump in.
I mean, I just feel like we're not going to see a Chiefs team that is going to dominate. Like it's a season where it's like, okay, let's see what we're working with. Let's not rush Mahomes back, and whatever happens, happens. Like there's no sort of, oh, we need to make it to the Super Bowl. That's not going to happen at all because Mahomes, it's the unknown of Mahomes. Like I said before, it's an ACL injury. It's going to take 8 to 11 weeks to get the Mahomes we know we're accustomed to seeing. I don't care what the athletic says, like 80%. Let's see when you get hit. Let's see how you cut. Let's see how you run. Let's see how you slide. It's levels to it, man. Come on.
That's true. And granted, the
athletes.
athletic was quoting Andy Reid, who obviously was in the building. But I see your point. I see your point 100%. Now, I will say this conversation is pointless because at the end of the day, the Broncos are going to win the division. I think 100%. Best defense in football, best D-line in football. They just added Jalen Waddle to the mix on offense, giving Bo Nix another potent weapon to use in that group. I probably have one of a top 7 to 6 receiver duo in the league going into 2027 with Courtland Sutton and Jalen Waddle. So I honestly think this conversation is pointless because there's no way the Broncos are not winning the division this year. Marcus, Jerry, if y'all disagree with me, let me know.
The Chargers are winning the division this year. Like they're definitely winning the division this year. You look at a number of different things. Justin Herbert is Justin Herbert. I don't really care what anyone has to say. Justin Herbert is an exceptional football player. He is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. This offense was top 12 in passing yards last year, or top 12 in total yards last year. Excuse me, or top 10 in passing yards. They were an exceptional third down offense. The run game got better. The defense, like not great, but the defense did improve in the big situations. In the red zone, on third downs, they improved. And I think when it comes down to the nitty gritty, when it comes down to just the coaching aspect of things and like just the little things, I think the Chargers this season are going to be in a better position to be able to win the division. Now, it's really like a splitting hairs thing because the Broncos, I would say, are probably the better, not probably, they are the better team and obviously more complete, to use your word, on both sides of the ball, obviously. But I just think I hate doing this, but I feel like it's the Chargers' turn. Like I think this is the year that it all just clicks in the regular season and it translates to postseason time. And I think we were a couple of plays away last season from the Chargers being the winner of the division last time. And that's kind of been the story of the Chargers. And they've always kind of found a way to rectify those things and get better year over year. So I think the Chargers are going to win the division this year.
Do you believe in Justin Herbert? Because at the end of the day, I feel like that's what it'll come down to. Like, do you believe, like we haven't seen it yet in terms of it translating, his regular season success translating into playoffs. Do you believe in Jalen Hurts going into this coming season?
I have no reason not to believe in Justin Hurts Jalen Hurts. Jesus Christ. Justin Herbert coming into the season. Justin Herbert is a proven commodity in the NFL. But
he's not in the playoffs though. He's not proven in the playoffs, though.
We're talking about
You're right.
winning the division.
Fair.
Winning the division here. Fair. Like this is the conversation. Now, again, when it comes to, look, I'm an Oregon fan. I love Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert is one of my favorite just football players on the planet. So like, it sucks that he is not that level in the postseason. But again, Justin Herbert is arguably the best third down quarterback in the NFL. He's arguably the best fourth down quarterback in the NFL. He's one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the NFL. He's got one of the strongest arms. Like he's one of the best pre-snap, one of the best post-snap. Like when you just think about the intangibles of a quarterback, he has all those things. Then you look at statistically since he's entered the league, very few players have completed a higher percent of their passes, have a higher pass rating, more touchdowns, less receptions, all of these things number-wise than Justin Herbert. So I look at that and I say, to me, Justin Herbert is a proven commodity. Has he gotten it figured out in the postseason? No. But that's going to come. That's going to come. Sometimes it takes longer for it to click than others. Josh Allen didn't just show up in the postseason and it start clicking. It took him a little bit of time, but once he got there, he got there. And I think we're having the same conversation with Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert obviously just isn't as physically and athletically gifted as Josh Allen, and so that plays a part into it as well. But yes, I have always had faith in Justin Herbert and his ability to go out there and be successful. At the very least in the regular season, which is the point of emphasis, at least right now.
That's fair. I'll give you regular season. Playoffs, I think we need to have a totally separate conversation about that because I don't think getting to the playoffs isn't what's been its problem. I think it's just been once he's there, but we can have that. conversation at a later time. Jerry, any last words before we wrap it up?
I'm good, man. I think it'll be an interesting season for both sides. The AFC is wide open again, so let's see who takes it. Who takes the king, and we'll talk about the NFC next time, hopefully.
All right. Well, yeah, you just heard it from Jerry. We are definitely talking NFC. We'll be back with that next week if we can get everybody on the same page to talk NFC winners. But that's all we got for today's edition of No Shame with Shane. If you haven't, be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to all of our social media platforms, and we will be back later on with more shameless takes.